Hello, everybody. Finishing up key of G, sort of, this week. And we are going to be playing all through the night today. And it's a beautiful song. And so I'm glad you're here. Where you pick up the sheet music is jollyrogerukulele.com. And I'm going to go post our link there right now. Sheet music, lessons, all that stuff. Whoops. Paste, shift, link, enter, edit, settings, open in a new window, update and update. So that gets that going. Let's go tweet. https colon whoops s colon slash h jolly roger ukulele.com not .c O M. Then my face pops up. Then I click here. I put on our little skeleton guy. Push tweet. And there's that. And then all set up for the day on. No, I got one more to post, don't I? We're finishing up our week of memorizers in the next class. Even though the concert's already over, but we're just finishing it up, cleaning up the mess from the previous week. Today we're playing the Sonatina. Wear me out. Today you guys are playing all through the night, which is a positively delightful piece of music, and I'm really happy to get to work on it. And we'll start with, for those of you guys that are getting settled in, you want to start with the ukulele side of this. We'll do the ukulele version first, and then we'll go through and do the baritone version. And that's the plan. All through tomorrow is our concert, our end of the week concert. So we want to have as much in place as possible. And let's see who's wandering in. Bruce made it in. It's sunny and 36, dusting of snow last night in Virginia. Yeah, it sounds like you're having pretty decent, pretty decent weather out there. 36 is probably pretty cold still in Virginia, though, right? It seems like I get this sense that Virginia, in my mind, Virginia's a southern state, but not really, right? It's sort of kind of more toward the north end of that. So glad you're getting a little snow, Bruce. Let's see. Sunny is good. Dennis is here. Minus 13 degrees and sunny in Toronto. Eesh. Is that Fahrenheit? Eesh. That's cold, Dennis. Lynn is in from New Jersey. It's sunny and cold there as well. Looking forward to all through the night. It's a beautiful song. We're going to have a good time. Donna's in. She's a local. We're having sort of overcast skies today. Kind of chill. They say it's supposed to be 50, but it doesn't look 50 out there. Overcast in Eugene, as always in the winter. Not always, but most of the time in the winter. Good to see you, Vic. Janice, back to the rain. Here's a shocker. It's raining in Scotland. Good to have you, Janice. All right. Mary G in 54 high in Golden. Is it really 50? It's not 54 out there, Marianne. Can't be. Looks like it's 12. Let's find out. Let's use our tools to find out what it really is. And I hit the little button, and it waits for a second, updates. It says it's 48 degrees out there. It does not look 48 out there. All right, Mary, you are right. David it's gray in Michigan, right? It's kind of gray in Michigan a lot. Elizabeth in from Bozeman, sunny and 36, no snow, high clouds. All right, okay. We'll take that in Bozeman any winter day. Pam, sunny and chilly in Connecticut. Sunny and chilly. Probably pretty typical though, right? Huh, Pam? Yeah, kind of wintertime in Connecticut. I went to school for one semester in Poughkeepsie, New York, which isn't far from Connecticut. And that is the coldest I have ever been in my entire life. I grew up in the Rockies, right, where we have a cold day and then the next day it's sunny. It was 3 weeks of the most intense cold that I can even imagine, and the humidity gets into your bones, and it's like, oh my gosh, brutal. Yeah, so I stood one semester. Then, of course, when summer came around, it was 900 degrees instantly. Spring lasted about 2.5 hours. So yeah, sunny and chilly in Connecticut. Even when the sun's out in out east, it is cold. It's like, oh. Valerie, still freezing up there in Illinois, but sunny, so you'll take the sun, right? Diane, missed the last part of Harmonica, but I'm back in now. Oh, wait, you got to go back and watch that, Diane. We did La Vie en Rose on Harmonica. Beautiful piece of music. Linda says, she's logging in from Colorado Springs going, is it Friday yet? Here's what probably some of you guys that are at least not having to go to work. Monday, every day is either Monday or Thursday, right? Every single day now, because it's just more of the same. I never know what day. I always have to check the clock to figure out what day it is. It's not Friday yet, Linda. Tomorrow is theoretically Friday, right? Tomorrow we'll know it's Friday. 43 and sunny down there in Texas. Kind of cold for you, Rob. Pam says, it's pretty typical. Weather this week is actually more normal for this time of year. We've been lucky. All right, so Pam says it's not as bad as I make it out. This was 1980, the winter, 1984. Let's see, wait, I went to college 83 and 84. So this would have been January 85. I was in Poughkeepsie, New York. I have never been that cold in my life before or since. Unbelievable. It was awful. And they went to this goofy school that the heater, they didn't turn the heater on until all the kids showed up in the dorms. So for 2 weeks, we were waiting for the heat to get into the building. It was unbelievable. Oh, awful. At night, there was a bar in the basement of the dorm. How about that? And at night, everybody would just go down there to get so it was warmer. It was terrible. Not a good way to run a university. All right. All through the night, guys, is our tune for the day. And what we're going to be doing, this sort of doesn't completely wrap up your key of G experience, but it is a place where we start to think about, is everything making sense for you? Is whether you can do it or not is not important. What is important is that the stuff is making sense. Thinking about, all right, do all the pieces and parts start to work together a little bit? They don't have to work perfectly because you're still in that process of getting your hands to cooperate with your brain. If your brain knows basically what you're supposed to do, it's going to take a while for it to come out of your hands. In the meantime, you're very patient with your not going well, and it'll be your patience will be rewarded by continuing to show up and make this stuff happen. What I'd like to do here is, let's look at the ukulele music first. I'm just peeking into next week. We have Home on the Range, which is the real wrap up for key of G, and then we have a new arpeggio next week. And so we're getting pretty close to being wrapped up with this second set of chords. And then starting next week, we move into the key of F, where we're going to learn a chord called B flat, and you're not going to be happy with me. So you guys are getting pretty darn close to being at the end of the foundations class, and that's the point where you're starting to say, all right, if this is mostly making sense to me, I kind of understand what I'm supposed to do. Can't quite do it yet, but it's making sense. Then you're ready, right? You're ready to be let out into public. But also, if you haven't been taking music for a long time, or maybe never taken music, and all of this has been a struggle, you take this one more time. You go through the whole session one more time, and several people here have been through it more than once. So that the second time you go through it, it's all review, right? And so don't feel like if you're still struggling that you're not meant for ukulele. It just means that we're throwing so much at you so quickly that your brain's like, that's more than I wanted it to be. The second time through, it's all review, and so it'll be much easier. So let's talk about your chord shapes here, and then while I'm talking, I'm gonna pull up the baritone music just to make sure I'm not lying to you. Baritone players, you guys are looking at the ukulele music right at the moment, but we're going to learn the shapes first. Okay, so ukulele shape, G chord is here. Okay, baritones, that will end up being your D chord. Okay, we've done that since the very beginning. This G chord should start to be coming together. Next is A chord. We did this chord in the little book that I hand out. Now, baritone players, for you, this is an E chord, but that shape's going to come up. Okay, baritone players, your G chord, of course, is here, and your A chord is here on baritone. Okay, so index, middle, ring. Next is our D chord. Ukulele players, yours is that one, index, middle, ring. Everything fits in the second. If you're having a hard time getting all your fingers in there, you probably have too small of a ukulele. And so if you're playing a soprano, it's very hard for adults to get their fingers into that space. And if you're playing tenor and you still can't get in there, you may be a baritone player and not know it yet. Okay. Baritones, your D chord looks like ukulele's G chord. Okay. And then the other chord on here, C chord, that is ukulele C chord. Baritones, yours is shaped like that. So you have what looks like an F chord to ukulele players is your C chord. Okay, so and that's it. That's the chords that are in here. Only 4 chords. Or is it 4 or 5? If C, G, A, D, C. Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah. And so there's only 4 chords. And so your job as a player, if you are on baritone right now, you're thinking, all right, I just have to know the names of those 4 chords. And I don't need to look at the grid pattern. I'm going to play G chord here. I'm going to play A chord here. I'm going to play D chord here. And I'm going to play C chord here. It's going to sound amazing. Okay. You are the backup band right at the moment. Ukulele players, you're playing your G chord here. You're playing your A chord here. Playing your D chord here, you're playing your C chord here. I'm going to sing. You guys know that's never a good thing, but at least this way you'll learn the song. Lots of you may not know this song. This is a very old-fashioned song, and so it's a good chance you don't know it. Okay, Jim made it in 2 degrees is Fahrenheit in Fort McMurray. He can't tell us the temperature in Celsius, or we'll call the police. All right, here we go. From the top. One time through, just so we get to know the tune. Just chords, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. 2, 3, 4. Guardian angels, God will send thee all through the night. 2, 3, 4. Soft the drowsy hours are creeping, hill and vale in slumbers sleeping. In my loving vigil keeping all through the night. 4. Okay. 4 beats per measure. Obviously, I'm just keeping it simple. A couple of things to note on the sheet music so that you're starting to put some of this into your noggin as well. First note is a quarter note, right? It's the dark note with the stem on it, and it's got a little dot after it. That means it's worth 1.5. Okay, that little dot just increases the note by 50%. So that beat, normally a quarter note is equal to 1. In this case, with the dot after it, it's worth 1.5 beats. And that makes sense when you look at the next note, has the little flag on it above my. That little flag there makes it into an 8th note, and it's worth half a beat. So if you take the first note, sleep, and the second note, my, and you add them together, there's 2 beats there. So that makes perfect sense, right? And that happens often in the song, in music, where you'll see a dotted note followed by a short note, and so that together they equal the 2 beats that you're looking for. Next thing that I notice on this is when you get to measure 4, that's a whole note, right? There's no stem on it. It's just this big dot there with a hole in the middle. That's worth 4 beats. So when you get there, as a strumming person, make sure you don't go all through the night and then stop and don't do anything. Your job strumming, if you're on baritones or if you're strumming on your ukulele, you got to fill that space up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move on. Don't just stop just because the melody stops. Pay no attention whatsoever to the melody when you're on chords. Your job is to be the drummer as well. If there's 4 beats in a measure, you're strumming 4 beats, right? If you are needing to change chords in the middle of that, like measure 2, peace attend thee all through the night. 2, 3, 4. Try really hard not to be paying attention to what's going on in the music. Your job is to be paying attention to what's going on in the rhythm. Not only are you often to change chords quickly, but you're also making sure to keep that rhythm steady. Chord players, in the absence of a drummer, are the drummer. And so your job, keep this beat steady no matter what's going on in the melody. On measure 1, you don't want to go sleep, my child, and that will never work. It just will never work if you keep it steady and let the singer take care of the length of the notes. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Okay, 3, 4. What's going on there? Ukulele player strumming the chords, keeping the beat steady, and then the singer can judge how long to hold those notes. It makes it so much easier for the singer, so much easier for you. Just make sure you look at the front of the song. If it says 4/4, you're going to strum 4 times in every measure, or at least if you're not strumming every beat, you're allowing the proper timing to go in there. So I could do sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Now I'm only plucking or strumming 1 time per chord, but I'm not rushing it. I'm waiting for the singer to get to the beat number 1 of the next measure, and then I'm tossing in my chord there. Just make sure you understand when you're on chords, you're also the drummer, and you want to make sure to keep the timing very steady and predictable. And that gives the singer the freedom to figure out how long they actually want to make the notes and drop those in the correct place. The singers can do that. It does not help for you to be strumming erratically. It does not help. And when I get a lot of singers into the studio, they're like, I want to get better at strumming. That's not at all what they want to get better at. They want to get better at having good rhythm with this hand, and being able to change their chords in proper time to keep that steady. And then they can sing over that. They don't need to get better at strumming. They just got to get better at keeping the time. And it turns out every time I have a singer in there who's struggling with ukulele, it's almost always because they're trying to strum with the speed of the music, and that's not the way you want to do it. All right, so there's your chords. Now, you baritones, you're staying on the same chord set. Remember, G chord, A chord, D chord, and C chord. Those are yours. Melody players, we're going to play the melody. Okay, there's 3s, there's 2s, and there's 0s. So that whole section you're going to play positionally. First position, second position, third position. Okay, and you really could play 2s and 3s in second position. The problem is you don't see a 5 for a long time, so it's probably easier just to be in first position and continue to train your middle finger and ring finger to do their job. Then when you get down to measure 10, this thing starts sliding up the fretboard, and so when you see that 5 show up at the end of measure 9, you're going to want to be in 5th position, because now you have a 5, 7, 5, and then drop back down to to first position, so that your ring finger's on 3. Okay, so when you see the 5 show up at the end of measure 9, jump up to 5th position, and then you've got your 5 and your 7 ready to play. Okay, let's give it a try. Baritone players, 4 beats per measure. Okay, melody ukulele players, the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum, 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 strum. Okay. Hold it. Why do I hold that note there? Right above the last note of measure 12, you'll see that little eyeball looking thing is looking right at you. Okay, that's called a fermata. That means you're going to hold that note a little bit longer than you're supposed to. How does the accompaniment player know? He or she's going to strum the D, and then they're going to wait. Okay, and right before you're ready to go, you bob your head a little bit, and then you're going to play measure 13. So let's do that. Ready? Play. Okay, let's do it one more time from the top. Baritone players, stay on chords. 1, 2, ready, play. Two, three, four. Two, three, four. Hold it and then go. Okay, really pretty melody. Let's switch instruments now. Ukulele players, I want you to jump over to the baritone sheet music. We're going to run through the same exact process of learning how to play that. Only ukulele players are now going to be our chord players, and baritone players, you get your melodies. Okay? Yeah. One day it's hot, one day it's cold, one day it's humid, one day it's dry. Nothing's ever in tune. You've probably figured this out, that 100% of the times you pick up an instrument, you're going to be probably needing to tune it. Okay. Ukulele players, you are now in a different key, right? And so your D chord, index, middle, ring, okay? Your E chord, really, really, really annoying. You're going to put a bar on 4, pinky on 7. That's your E chord, okay? And by the way, you can do a D chord with just a bar on 2 and pinky on 5, and then slide it up to E, okay? You could do that. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee. And then your A chord down here, all through the G chord, the night, or I'm sorry, all attend the G chord, all through the A chord, through the, and then D chord, night. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm telling you correctly what you're supposed to do. So D, it'll be, if I did a bar, I could do sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Okay, if I don't like doing that, I can just do a regular D. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Okay, so those are your chords as ukulele players, okay? Brief aside, E chord. There are entire internet discussions, long discussions about how do you avoid an E chord. For those of you going into instrumental ukulele, for those of you who are, you're wanting to play ukulele at the highest level, you're not going to avoid it. It's going to be something you have to do. Bar on 4, pinky on 7. It's going to come up a gajillion times. And so we will often play D like this, E like this, and F will end up right there. This is going to happen all the time. And in fact, I'll be playing a G chord right up here a lot of the times. So don't be thinking, oh, I don't like that. I don't want to do that, right? It's kind of come up. Yeah, all you're doing really is you're playing a C chord. If you move it up 2, it becomes a D chord. If you move it up to 4, it becomes an E chord. Move it up to 5, it becomes an F chord. Move it up to 7, it becomes a G chord. So this is an extremely important and helpful tool. That's why when I go on the internet, I don't read ukulele posts anymore because they make me sad. When I see posts about how do I avoid this, I don't like this. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. I just think, yeah, you do. You do want to do this. This is going to be a really valuable tool for you. And so, bar on 4, pinky on 7, that's your E chord. Okay, so those are your chords. A little bit more challenging chords than the baritones had to deal with, but they're all good chords. Connie says, when does the next fundamentals class start? I have a friend who wants to start playing. Connie, let me figure that out. I can go through now. I never know for sure how long it's going to take us to get through everything because, sometimes we miss a day or here or there. But Connie, I will figure that out and I will put that on the front page of the website. I don't know that right off the top of my head, but I can definitely, I think I'm at the point where I could figure that out. So it'll be probably toward the end of February. Probably, because I think we have at least 2 more weeks of stuff to do before we start doing that. So thanks, Connie. I'll find out. All right, baritone players, ukulele players right now, they're busy practicing their chords. Baritone players, we've already know our chords, right? And we don't need to worry about those anymore because we're going to play melody. Okay, again, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there are no 1s, so we're not going to need that. We'll play 2s and 3s here. And then when it's time, slide up to 5th position so that your ring finger ends up on 7. Okay, I got this goofy baritone with all this fancy stuff all over the front of here. The only thing that really matters, I know where 5 is because then my ring finger magically lands on 7. Let's give it a try. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold it just a second and then go. One more time from the top. Go. Two, 3, 4. And go. Isn't that a beautiful melody? If you want, Sheryl Crow did a version of this a while back, and really nice, really pretty little, kind of a haunting melody almost. And it's all major chords. There's no minor chord in there at all. It's just really got a pretty melody. All right, final piece of the puzzle on this song is that we have one more technique to learn. Okay, we have learned how to do this technique. All right, so if I put a G chord on, put your G chord on. If I do this, there's a G chord. Sounds beautiful, okay? Or I could use this index finger, making sure my fingernail does not point up here, but it points mostly toward the ground, and I do my G chord, okay? That's with my fingernail, gets a little sharper edge to it, and then I come back up with the pad. So it's... Now, this is the kind of song you probably wouldn't play that way. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee. You're probably not going to do it that way. Probably not going to do it. That's dumb, right? But you could do sleep, my child, and peace attend thee. Right? You might do that with your thumb, just beautiful down. Mihailo. One of these days I'll learn how to pronounce your name. Glad you're here. Late at night out there. All right, so there's that. Next is, we've also talked about plucking all four. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. I got my head in baritone and ukulele confused. Okay, there's that. And we've also learned a little bit now about plucking. Okay, so if I go sleep, my child, and peace. Let me go back. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. So that's that possibility. The last thing we want to talk about is being very prescriptive, almost like a surgeon going in to pluck through this thing. And that's what your tough uke line on here is going to teach you. Okay, so you start with your main chord. Okay, baritone players, you're going to have D chord. Ukulele players, you're going to have a G chord. Same skill set, just different keys. Okay, you're going to grab the chord, and then you're going to pluck just the strings it says. So you're not necessarily going to use this string up here on the 4 for a while. So on baritone, I'm going to do 2 and 3, and then I'm going to pull this back 2 and 2, and then 0 0, and then 2 and 3 again, and then I'm going to pluck these 3, and then I'm going to pluck 1 and 3, and then 2 and 2, and then a 2. All zeros, 2 2s. Now I'm doing that on a baritone, but the skill set on ukulele is identical. And the reason we're working on that is, on ukulele, most of the time we are so comfortable strumming all 4 strings that we think that that's the only way to do it, and it's absolutely not. If you were on guitar, you would very rarely strum all 6 strings. It's not even part of that instrument's heritage. We do strum it when we have an electric guitar because we can fix things with the amplifier. But on an acoustic guitar, this business of strumming all of the strings, it doesn't happen that much. Whereas on ukulele, it happens all the time. What the skill set you're trying to get away here is, hey, I may or may not be playing all these strings sometimes, especially as the instrumentalist. We very often only use a subsection of the strings. And so in this case, just take your inner fingers here, okay, 3 and 2, or 2 and 3, sorry, and then 2 2, 0 0, 1 0 0, 1 3, 2 2, 2 zeros. Okay, it makes you sound more sophisticated because you're not doing what we started with was sleep, my child, and peace attend thee, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. And then we added sleep, bum 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 bum, which is far more sophisticated. Now we're going to take part of the chord and the melody, and we're not going to use the rest of the ukulele. We're just going to use pieces of it. So there's that. Now that sounds pretty nice. The other thing we can do at measure 4, when you have 4 beats, you might put in some just decorative notes. Let me show you what that would look like. Dum, 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 dum. Just pluck whatever notes that you're holding down. Just pluck them, bum, 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 or whatever. Or you can do bum, 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 or bum, bum, bum. Okay, so you're just filling in some extra. You got a big long empty measure there at 4. Fill it in with a little bit of something, and it'll sound. Again, that's when you start approaching finger style play on ukulele. It'll sound much more sophisticated. Then go down to measure 9. Measure 9 is different. Measure 9, now it shows, we're going to be using all of those strings. Feels like a lot, doesn't it? So instead of plucking them all, that section is different. Measures 9 through 12 is very different from measures 1 through 4. And 5 through 8 is a repeat of 1 through 4. Measures 13 through 16 is a repeat. So as I learn measures 1 through 4, I've learned the whole song except for measures 9, 10, 11, and 12. So because that section is so different, I probably will strum that. Right? And so then I've taken the song and I'm giving it two completely different textures. The opening section, plucking, the middle section, strumming, and then back to plucking at the end. And I've really given my audience a lot of different textures and ideas coming out of the song, especially if then on the other side, I got a baritone player keeping my chords steady and beautiful. Really will have a nice overall presentation. And so the message you probably are continuously getting from me is lots of ways to approach a piece of music. Be experimental, be creative, try different things until you find the best presentation. Also, go get a friend, and then we're ukulele players, so making friends is hard for us. But what we want to do is have our part and then our accompanists part, and together we might create a much more complex and interesting arrangement. Okay, so baritone players, let's look at the ukulele. Just because I'm holding ukulele at the moment, let's look at the ukulele music. Remember, you're going to be playing a G chord here, you're going to be playing an A chord here, you're going to be playing your D chord here, and you're going to be playing your C chord here. You're going to continue to do exactly what you were doing before, just keeping the beat steady. Maybe it's one strum, maybe it's 4 strums. Anyway, keep 4 beats per measure. Ukulele players, we're going to go through and pick this thing out. Okay, we're going to pick through measure 8. Then when we get to measure 9, we're going to strum. Okay, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then go back to plucking. Isn't that beautiful? Really nice song. You got to learn measures 1 through 4, and then you magically also know 5 through 8 and 13 through 16. So you spend a little bit of time on that, and then spend the measures 9 through 12 are actually quite pleasant, right? They're very ukulele in the sense that we're just going to strum our way through that. Hardest part there, I think, end of measure 11, you get a G chord that sneaks in there, and measure 12 ends up with a G chord and a D chord sneaking in there. Okay. All right, you baritone players, let's do your portion. Ukulele players, switch to your chord set. And again, ukulele players, D chord here, E chord up here, A chord here, and G chord here. Okay, those are your chords. By the way, just to further mess with your noggin, if I'm on D chord here, and I go to E chord here, I also have an A chord right here, it has an F shape in front. I have a G chord back here. Right, I've done the whole thing with bar chords. You don't have to. I'm just telling you that's going to be happening in your life, and then so to make sure that this bar chord, you're not developing a healthy antipathy for your bar chords. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Okay, all bar chords, and I have a lot of control. Ultimately, as you progress into music, you're going to be doing more and more and more bar chords, and willingly so, because you get a lot more control over the sound quality that's coming out of your instrument. All right. Ukulele players, you're on chords. Baritone players, we're going to play just what the ukulele players were playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty. Of course, on baritone players, you have a first and second ending. Eventually, the ukulele version will have a first and second ending as well. But if I'm on baritone, nice, pretty. That's that G chord here, right? We were talking about D chord, E chord, F chord, G chord. That's going to be part of what we talk about as you get into book 2 a lot, is how to start getting your mind around bar chords. That's what I know about ukulele today. This is a really big song. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is concert day, so we play everything from the week, and both on baritone and ukulele, we'll probably play each song. We'll probably play, what we might do is just play all the way through on ukulele and then go through and play all the way on baritone. I don't know yet what I'll want to do. But make sure you have everything in your book off of the website for next week, from this week to play tomorrow. And we'll run through all of that stuff. Make sure you're feeling comfortable about it. We're really not worried overly about you being comfortable with anything. Everything should be kind of uncomfortable at this point. What we're really looking forward to is finding those things that are going well and those things that are not going so well. And then, of course, making sure the things that are going well stay going well. And then those things that you're struggling with a little bit, we spend a little bit more time on those. Getting to the point where you're playing some pretty complex and interesting tunes, and probably are going to need to start putting in a teeny bit of extra time after class, just going through everything and seeing how well you can do it on your own. Playing with me is very challenging because I'm essentially a metronome for you, but playing on your own usually, hopefully, is sounding a little bit better. And that's what I know. That's what I know. So hopefully you guys are having a great day. Connie, you are welcome. Mihailo, good to see you. Nancy, many thanks, Gary. Many thanks to you. Oh, yeah, I got to do my list. Random act of kindness. You're planning something goofy to do for something every day. You're being safe and getting your vaccine when it's available. You are practicing a little bit more than you used to, right? So maybe after class, spend 10, 15 minutes running through the material on your own. You're continuing to show up here. I always know whether you're here or not, right? I have a little widget up there at the top. It's probably right there for you. And I know whether you're here or not. That's going to be the thing that separates people who can play from people who can't, is who shows up. If you're logged in to Gmail or YouTube, if you'll push the up button, and you are thinking about becoming a member of the Jolly Roger website. So read the subscription page to tell you about that. Ron, I always see Rob Howard, and I think Ron Howard. I'm sure you've spent your whole life with that. Rob, good to see you. That's great. However, I have noticed that you don't offer. I know, right? That's my next random act of kindness. We're going to go to the donut shop and get a bunch of donuts and give them to people here in the building. That's what we're working on right now. Janice, I understand what to do. Just doing it, right? And guys, what we're doing here is crazy hard. The important part for me is to get it into your head where you know what you're supposed to do. Getting your body to do it does take time. It takes years, Okay, and not you'll be playing this stuff pretty good in a few weeks, but to really be able to play, you're going to spend a couple years on that, and so just enjoy the ride. Don't worry about anything on any given day. Just know you're working on it. That's exciting. Yeah, Lynn, G bar on 2, A bar on 4 with F shape. Yeah, F shape. Yep, Lynn, you got it. You figured it out. I'll work on donuts. Rob's like, look, I'm fine with the ukulele. It's the donuts what we're talking about. Good to see you, Rob. You crazy guy. Mary, good to see you. Love your baritone. That's exciting. They are wonderful, aren't they? Thank you, Mary. Good to see you. Nancy, if YouTube gives you a free puppy with those likes, how will Henry feel? Henry is not a Henry. You know how Prince Charming, you know that guy, very good looking, very lovely person, really just charming in every way. He's got a bit of a narcissism issue, and that Henry wants it to be about Henry, and so no, we had when we first got him, we also simultaneously ended up with another animal through a series of odd events. Did not like that. Henry wanted it to be all about Henry. He was not used to sharing at all. And so poor Bessie, who is the sweetest cat in the world, was like, geez, Louise, you're a butthead. Yeah, so when I get a free puppy, I don't know, I'm going to have to get another apartment for the puppy. So, yeah. Vic, good to see you. Linda, good to have you here. Lynn, finished my jelly donut right before the class. Oh, Lynn actually has donuts, and she didn't even share. What the heck, Lynn? You see how people from New Jersey are? They just eat the donuts. That's what they do. Boy, a donut sounds good right now. I'm gonna go fight you, Rob. All right, I'm gonna see you guys. Some of you next hour, and I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.